Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today, Hall? All right, let's quickly do this. Let's confirm we're all on the same page. Screen, hear my voice clearly. Kindly type in hi in the comment section so that we can get this started. Having running nose this morning. I hope my better than expected. So let's confirm that we are good to go. I need some confirmations. So let's see what is happening in the comment section. All right, so I can see Gustin. Good morning, Gustin. Thank you. Yellow. Yeah, yellow. All right. Thank you. Okay, 776-53121. Thank you very much. So I would like to take this as a confirmation that we are good to go. So hello, everyone. Kindly give me a couple of minutes, please. Issues. I will be with you in a moment. All right, I'm sorry for the break in transmission. So I had to sort out some issues so that it wouldn't affect our session here. So glad to have you, glad to be back around. So I welcome you to yet another promising session on the Extra and Speed Live. My name is Sheriff Daramola, and as usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey in the next 1 hour, where we shall be evaluating the financial market using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today. Well, it's our culture here in this community to review all the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. And we actually had some suggestions yesterday after previewing the chart, and we had an expectation yesterday. And in matter of fact, I'm so excited to let you know that all of the pairs we treated yesterday went very, very profitable. So, with that being said, I want us to quickly run through the economic calendar to see if we have any macroeconomic events that is likely going to be serving as a catalyst for price action for today before we dive into the charts. So, today, Thursday, December 15th, We really don't have major events unless okay, we have for the Aussie. As you can see here, we had the employment change and the unemployment rate for the month of November, which happened earlier today. And we had positive figures for the Aussie, but I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to be looking at the chart and see how this has actually affected price movement since we are monitoring the AUD card. Then we also have the retail sales and the retail sales control, which is going to be having a major impact on the US dollar. And this will going to be coming up in the next 2 hours, 30 minutes from now. So we want to be getting ready. Look at the psychology behind the price movement, as participants in the market will be anticipating this event and they shall be reflected on the chart as price action. So with that being said here, so we have only the Aussie dollar and the US dollar to look out for while we do our analysis on the chart. So with that being said, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is really going on in the market right now. So as usual, the first commodity we are going to be looking at is the US oil. And like I told you last week, sorry, yeah, at the beginning of the week, we have been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week, as you can see here. So we took advantage of this trade right above the $71.50 level. This was when our first position was triggered. So we had that position running there. Then on Tuesday, we also had another opportunity to join and had another position right above the $74 level. Then on Wednesday, we also had an opportunity during the early hours of that day to take advantage of another buy opportunity here. Then yesterday, during the New York session yesterday as well, we had a situation where I told you that we should move our stop loss accordingly to somewhere around the $75.50 level while we anticipate another breakout of the $76 level. And a matter of fact, we saw the breakout retest of the $76 level area to further give us another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So since the beginning of the week, we have been very profitable. The first position, if you are taking the first position here, you'll be running with over 500 pips in profit. The second position here we took on Tuesday is running with over 300 pips in profit. And then the one we took here yesterday is running with over 160, and we have another one here which is running with over 100 pips in profit at this point in time. So with the look of things here, you will agree with me that we have been very profitable since the beginning of this week. So with that being said here, and we heading into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? Well, and also for those who had missed out in any of these opportunities that we took advantage of during the course of the week, we shall be looking at how we could be able to join the potential bullish momentum if this current structure is going to be supporting it. So we are going to be looking at how we want to be joining it. Then if the current structure is going to be saying something otherwise, we also want to get ourselves prepared to take advantage of that move. So what I'll be doing right now is to scale up to the daily time frame, where I want to also have an holistic view of what is really going on in this market. Let's see if the bullish momentum we have been enjoying since the beginning of the week will continue till the end of the week. So the structures on the daily time frame will give us an holistic view of what is really going on in the market. So with that being said, let's dive into the daily time frame. Let's quickly look at what is happening here, after which we are going to come back to our lower time frame, finally make a decision for the day. So right here on the daily time frame, like I stated here at the beginning of the week, we have a situation where price has been caught within the channel in the last couple of months now, as we saw the resistant level of the channel right around the $93.50 level, where we have been witnessing selling pressure. We saw one happen here during the first week of the month of October. Then we saw another one happen here again during the first week of the month of November. Then we also have the support level here around the $78 area, which what has been holding buying pressure since I think at the middle month of September till the first week of this month. We saw our buyers as continue to push price to the upside, negating all selling pressure around that area. Now, when we fast forward into what happened here last week, we witnessed the breakdown of that demand zone here, giving us a signal there is a tendency that sellers might likely come in at this point. So at the beginning of the week, we had 2 or 3 possible scenarios that we were actually looking forward to. And we said that since price broke down that demand zone from a technical standpoint, whenever we see a breakdown of a structure like this, we expect that one point in time, price is likely going to come back to do a retest of that structure, which might likely send price crashing further to the downside. So that is one scenario we were actually looking forward to. Then the other scenario that we were looking forward to is that this bullish momentum might likely come back into the zone here around the $85 area. Remember, a level which was broken here during the mid-month of November, a very significant structure which shares a confluence with both the bullish trend line, that is the green line on your screen here, and the very important key level at the $85 mark. So since price broke down that structure, there is a tendency, if we are looking at this from a technical standpoint, that price might likely come back to do a retest of that structure, probably to incite another wave of bearish momentum. And if that is not the case, might be seeing price break out of that bullish trend line one more time, where another wave of bullish momentum could kickstart from there. Then we also thought of a possible trend continuation pattern around this area at the beginning of the week, where we said we could likely see a trend continuation pattern breakdown retest in our lower time frame that might likely send price crashing further to the downside. So the second one is what happened here, as we saw that buying pressure started at around the $70 level at the beginning of the week, which led into a situation where we took advantage of that opportunity actually, and price is right back into the structure that was broken during the course of last week's session. So at this point in time, you would agree with me that we are at a very critical point in the market as price action continue to oscillate right around the $77.50 level in the last uh, 3, 4, 5 hours from now. We have been witnessing that consolidation phase around that area. So is this going to turn out to be the culmination of the retracement of this impulse leg? That is, this retracement of this impulse leg into this area, where we might likely start seeing selling pressure around this area that might likely send price to the downside one more time. That is one scenario we want to be looking at. Or we could be seeing a situation where a breakout of the structure retest could further give us another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade, further leading into the structure around the $85, $90 area, which was broken during the mid-month of the month of November. So these are the scenarios we are going to be looking at on the lower time frame, right around the $77.50 level, where I said we are going to be looking out for the structures to further giving us a clue of where price might be heading during the New York session today. So 2 things we are looking forward to here. We are either looking forward to a trend continuation pattern right around the $77.50 level, or a reversal pattern to join the decline to the downside. So let's scale right back down into a lower time frame, where we are going to be laying more emphasis around the $77.50 level. So scaling back down to our lower time frame, that is the 1 hour time frame, we are going to be identifying that $77.50 level here, where we have been seeing selling pressure a couple of times on the daily time frame. So if you allow me, let's quickly draw out that structure. I actually took advantage of an opportunity here. I will be showing you that in a moment, but let's quick before we forget, right? So we have the $77.50 level somewhere around here. Okay, so we have been seeing selling pressure there since the New York session yesterday, I guess. Yeah. So we have been seeing selling pressure around that area. So during the morning session today, when I opened my chart, though I woke up very late this morning, the one first thing I observed here is that the bullish trend line we identified here yesterday appears to be respected by price action. We can see how price has been respecting that trend line in one way or the other. in form of either a rejection, a breakout, and retest of structure. We saw buying pressure right above that bullish trend line in the last 24 hours. And it appears price has come back into the trend line during the early hours of today. And that area was characterized by a huge consolidation phase before we started seeing buying pressure right above that bullish trend line to further give us a signal that there is a possibility that price might continue to the upside from that area. So what I did here that I shared on my public platform this morning was that if we have a breakout of the $76.80 level, remember we had this consolidation phase here as soon as price tested the $76.50 level, hereby giving us an indecision in that area. So a breakout or a breakdown of that structure is going to likely give us a signal of where price will be going. So in that regard, let me extend this bullish trend line a little further. So we should extend it out a little bit. So going into the New York session today, we have three structures we shall be using to guide our trading activity. The first one is this bullish trend line. So if price continues to trade above that bullish trend line, we want to be comfortable in our buy position. And if price breaks down the bullish trend line, we want to be getting ready to sell when we start sighting selling pressure right below that structure. Then we also have the $76.80 level. Price staying above that level is also a good confirmation that we are good in our buy position here. So I took advantage of this opportunity here. Well done to those who actually saw this and took advantage of that move. So move your stop loss to break even at this point so that we can protect our position against any sudden pullback. And the reason why we are going to be moving our stop loss to break even is this. Remember, we are within the TP target for buy zone, which we identified at the beginning of the week, which is within the $76.50 level and the $80 area. So we had this identified at the beginning of the week where we said we shall be looking forward to selling pressures within this zone to take advantage of a bearish move. And as you can see what happened here during the New York session yesterday, we started seeing selling pressure around the $77.50 level, which we also identified on the daily time frame, and price coming below the structure here. We might be seeing, if the sell pressure continues in such a way that sellers takes over this market, a breakdown of the structure here might likely incite a wave of bearish momentum. However, if a breakout of that $77.50 level happens during the New York session today, it is going to be a very good opportunity for us to add more position to our existing trade. So what we are going to be looking forward to add position, that is for those who had missed out on this opportunity and for those who are planning to add more position to the existing trade that we have here. So let's see how price action is going to relate to the $77.50 level. So if a breakout of that structure happens, followed by buying pressure right above or around the structure on our lower time frame, then we want to be getting ready to add more position to our existing trade. However, if we start seeing rejection of that level, that is selling pressure right below that structure on our lower time frame, then we want to be waiting for price to break down this bullish trend line. We are selling pressure below the $76.80 level is likely going to be sending another wave of bearish momentum to the downside. So these are the scenarios we shall be looking forward to on the USOil. So I will advise us to be on standby so that we can take advantage of either of these opportunities that is likely going to be happening around this area. So for those who are taking advantage of the bullish momentum since the beginning of the week, and this morning, I will be advising that anywhere right below the $76.80 level, most appropriate for us to place our stop loss. Let's guide our position judiciously well. We have been quite in a profitable trade since the beginning of the week. Over 600-700 pips thereabouts on this one, if we calculate it very well. So we don't want to lose out on any of the profit we have made so far. So let's move our stop loss to somewhere around the below the $76.80 level at this point in time, and let's see how price action will continue to relate to the zone between the $77.50 area and the $76.80 level. So our take profit target in the meantime still remains around the $79.50 and the $80 area. So let's see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours. However, if we start seeing a very strong bullish momentum, if price breaks out of the $77.50 level, depending on the structure I see there is a likelihood that we might want to be extending our TP target so that we can maximize the profit we can make on the US oil. So that is my view here on the US oil. If you have any questions regarding what I've just explained so far, feel free to drop in your inquiries in the comment section and let's see how I can be of help in that regard. So with that being said, let's quickly run through the comment section. I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chats and see if there are any questions whatsoever. And if there are none, we'll just move on to the next option. So what do we have right here in the comments? I have Tommyville. Good morning, Tommyville. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around. All right, we have 398. Good morning. Okay, good morning, Francisco. Glad to have you. Tony Mad, good morning to you. Tetsu Bell, good morning. Hey, innocent babe, good morning. How are you doing today? Glad to have you around. Been a while. I'm doing fine, thank you, and trust you are doing well. Okay, so we also have Enil to also in the house. Good morning. Happy earnings to you too as well. All right. I'm glad you are innocent, babe. So, in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're all on the same page here. So, let's dive into the next option where we shall be looking at the US tech. So, on the US tech yesterday, we had a situation. Remember, since the beginning of the week, we have been enjoying a bullish momentum here after price broke out of the 11,560 level during the first day of this week. So we took advantage of this opportunity here. Then we also added another position right above the $11,700 area to give us two positions running in profit, and we were able to close as at Tuesday morning. We were able to close with the first position gave us around 530. The second position gave us around 400 pips. So we are roughly approximately about 1,000 pips on the US tech in profit. And for those who had been part of this profitable journey, kudos to you. Well done, guys. And during the live session yesterday, we had a couple of scenarios that we were looking forward to be able to take advantage of another opportunity. And for us to take advantage of an opportunity here, I was able to identify two simple structures here. And the first one is this bullish trend line here, the dotted one on your screen right here. And then we also had the 11,875 level to serve as our yardstick for trading opportunity. So we were at a conference here during the live session yesterday. I think we were around here during the live session. So I told you that for those who are taking advantage of this move here, move your stop loss, lock in some profit, and let's see if price is going to break out and retest the structure to give us another opportunity to add more position to our buy trade. And if that is not the case, if price comes here and we start seeing selling pressure right up below the structure, we want to be joining the decline to the downside. Though we had the breakout of the 11,875 during the later part of the New York session yesterday, where price climbed up a little bit into the $11,950 level with about how many pips in profit? About 75 pips in profit before we saw this huge move that took price break down the 11,875 level, retest that structure one more time on our lower time frame, and boom, price continued to the downside from that area. Though I actually missed this opportunity, but those who took advantage of this trade, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that opportunity. So right now, price has broken that very important structure we identified on the daily time frame at around the $11,700 level. So at this point in time, for those who have taken the sell position right below the $11,875 level, you would currently be running with over 290 pips, roughly 300 pips in profit at this particular point in time. So what I'll be advising you to do right now is to lock in some profits, and somewhere right around the $11,700 level, that very important key level. Don't worry, for those who had missed out on our analysis prior to the session, I will be explaining further on the daily time frame when we jump into the higher time frame. So at this point in time, for those who are taking advantage of this move right here, what you are going to be doing now is to stop loss to somewhere right around the 11,700, where we want to be looking forward to see if price might climb back to the upside, or we're going to be seeing price come back to do a retest of the structure, followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame to further send another wave of bearish momentum. So with that being said, as we have locked up our profit right now, so let's quickly scale up to the daily time frame. Let's see what is really going on the higher time frame. Let's have an holistic view of what is going on. Then we come back to the 1 hour time frame, where we shall be making our decision for today. And for those who had missed out on this opportunity that we took advantage of yesterday, well, let's see if the market is going to be giving us a second chance to join another decline. And if price action is telling us to go upside, then we want to be getting ready to join that move. So let's quickly run through the daily time frame and let's see what is going on there. So right now we are on the daily time frame, and first of all, I would like to state here that it has been a long-term bearish momentum here on the US tech, as we can see evident after connecting the series of lower highs here, which gave us that resultant bearish trend line, which has been guiding selling pressure since the beginning of the year. However, something interesting happened in the month of June, and when we started seeing buyers coming in to negate all selling pressure around the 11,000 level. So every attempt by the sellers to break down that structure was met with strong resistance from the buyers, and we saw in the month of June, buyers took price right back into the trend line here. And then the same thing happened here in the later part of the month of September, stroke the early days of the month of October, as we started seeing another buy pressure around that area. However, the buy pressure here wasn't as strong enough, as we saw immediately price came into the $11,700 level. We have been witnessing selling pressure from that area to further emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. We also saw the same thing happen here in the month of November, further emphasizing the strength, which further shifted the demand zone back further down into the $10,500 level. However, when we look at what happened here, if we zoom into what happened here at the first week of the month of November, we saw buy pressure which emerged again from that demand zone and led to a final breakout of the 11,700. Remember, let me extend this out a little bit so we can have a better perspective into what I'm talking about. So we have the $11,700 level here. And then as soon as price broke out of the $11,700 area here, we saw how price was caught within a huge consolidation phase right within the $12,090 level and the 11,500 area, to emphasize the indecision in the market at this particular point in time. And a matter of fact, this lasted for over a month here, as price was caught within that channel, to emphasizing that participants in this market were actually looking forward to what will happen to uh, drive price action. So right now, what we noticed at the beginning of the week is the buy pressure around the $11,500 area. So we saw how this level has been holding buy pressure since the beginning of the month of November. And we said the buy pressure here during the later part of last week might incite another wave of bullish momentum. So we were able to position ourselves very well right above the $11,550 level, where we took advantage of this bullish momentum, which ran through into the $12,090 level, giving us over close to 1,000 pips profit with two positions running. And with the structure we saw here on Tuesday, we saw the candle here closed in form of a shooting star, a structure which emphasizes the strength of the sellers at this particular point in time. And if we look at this with how it shares a confluence with rejecting that bearish trend line very sharply, it shows that the sellers are still very, very strong in this market. And a matter of fact, we saw the sell momentum yesterday, which we took advantage of and finally broke down that same $11,700 level, which has been a strong selling niche for participants in this market in the last 2 to 3 months. So price breaking down that $11,700 level with something that is looking like an engulfing candle right now, it's a sign that sellers are still very strong in this market. So we want to be getting ready to join a decline to the downside if structures on our lower time frame gives us an opportunity too. So right now we are already in the sell position, like I said, on the 1 hour time frame. So what we want to be doing is to lock in some profit here. Move your stop loss accordingly. I've told you to lock your profit around 11,700, and let's see how price action is going to relate to the $11,700 level during the New York session today to further give us a clue of what our next line of action will be. So on the 1 hour time frame, we said if price comes back to do a retest of the $11,700 level with selling pressure below that structure, we want to be joining the decline to the downside. And if that is not the case, but instead price drops down the 11,500, that is breaks down that structure, then we want to be seeing this as a bearish signal where we are going to be patient enough to look out for selling pressure right below the structure to join the decline to the downside. So these are the scenarios we are going to be looking at on the 1 hour time frame. So let's dive back into the 1 hour time frame where we shall be looking at what price action is saying there. So we are right back at the 1 hour time frame. And like I said on the daily time frame, price has broken down the 11,700. So let me bring this screen so that we can see things more clearly here. So I would like to delete all this so that we can have a clean chart. All right. Okay. So one, we have the 11,750, a level which has been a major determinant of price action since Friday last week. Remember, we saw buy pressure around this area. We saw the first one, we saw the second one here before this level was broken on Tuesday last week. Then we saw price come back to do a retest of both 11,750 and the $11,700 level before we witnessed the breakout of the structure, which we took advantage of during the course of the week. And right now, price has broken down that structure, retested it a couple of times before we saw this move to the downside. So with the look of things right now, it's looking more bearish at this particular point in time. So for like I said earlier, for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity right here, the next thing you want to be doing is move your stop loss accordingly. Lock in some profit somewhere around the $11,700 area here. And let's see if the market is going to be giving a second chance to either add more position to our existing trade. And for those who had missed out on this opportunity, want to be looking at a retest of the structure with selling pressure right on our lower time frame to further add more position or join this decline to the downside. Now, if price continues to the downside in such a way that it breaks down the 11,500, hold on a second, let me bring this screen so that we can see what I'm talking about here. So we have the $11,500 level here, and if price further breaks down that structure, we want to be looking out for selling pressure below this level to further emphasize another opportunity for us to join the decline to the downside. So our take profit target still remains between the 11,350 level and the $10,900 area. In fact, we have a huge TP target zone to take advantage of this bearish momentum if price continues in that direction. So with that being said, we also want to keep our options open here, despite the fact that we are looking forward to selling opportunities on the US tech. It's very important that we keep the options of possibility of buyers taking over this market from this area. So if we are going to be keeping that option open, where are we going to be looking out for buying pressure? What is really going to happen in the market that will dictate that it's time for us to buy? Well, one thing I want to be looking out for here is this. First of all, we want to be taking into consideration the $11,700 level here, which has been a major determinant of price action in the last 2 to 3 months. I showed you this on the daily time frame. So we want to see price breaking back above that structure, probably if possible above the 11,750, and we start seeing buy pressure right above the structure or right above the 11,750 to be thinking of buying the US tech. But if this does not happen and selling pressure continue below the 11,750 and $11,700 level, we want to be comfortable in our sell position. So these are my views here on the US tech. If you have any questions whatsoever regarding what I've just explained so far, feel free to drop in your inquiries in the comments section of this video. All right, so let's quickly run through the chat, the comment section, and any questions before we move there. So I can see someone saying that my voice is echoing. Okay, I will try to. All right, I'm not sure that is happening on my monitoring device here. Can someone else confirm the voice quality is substandard? Amix SAR, I will suggest you shut down your app and then restart it all over again and see what the sound sounds like. After which, let me know what the result is. Okay. All right. So let's quickly move on to the next pair. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the UI. Matter of fact, remember I told you how. Okay, thank you, Innocent Babe. Innocent Babe just confirmed that it's clear. So, what's his name again? Amil XAR. All right. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you try to uh restart your app so that you can get a refreshed experience. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's dive into the USDJPY. Remember yesterday I told you that I missed out on this bearish move that's started on Tuesday. In fact, I missed out on this move, and congratulations to those who took advantage of that move. However, during the live session yesterday, we were around where yesterday around here, okay? So we were around the $134.700 level here. This was where we were yesterday. And one thing I told you here yesterday is that we shall be looking forward to a bullish opportunity, but we're also going to be opening up to the possibility that sellers might likely come in at this point. And one thing I stated here yesterday is that we shall be looking forward to selling pressure right below this 135 Japanese yen level. So in order to guide our trading activity yesterday, I was able to identify the structure at the 134.700, where I said a breakdown of that structure will be giving us a signal to sell the USDJPY. As we can see here in the last 48 hours or 72 hours thereabout, price buyers has continued to reject this level. So every attempt by the sellers to push price further to the downside has been met with strong resistance from the buyers. So what I said here yesterday is that if price does not break down the 134.700 and instead we cite a breakout of this trend line we identified here. Remember, we identified this bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower highs, and I said a breakout retest of that trend line should be giving us an opportunity to join that bullish momentum to the upside. Though it took us a little while before this whole setup evolved, but it was worth it as we saw multiple rejection of the 135.300. I actually shared this on my public platform where we started seeing buying pressure, which lasted for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 good hours before the huge move started here. So for those who are taking advantage of this move, kudos to you guys for being on standby to take advantage of that move. So for those who are taking this one from this level, right above the 135.300 level, you will currently be running with over 140 pips in profit. Then we also had another opportunity during the early hours of today at the breakout retest of the 135.750 level, a structure which we identified yesterday as well for another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. And this also has been running profitable well at this particular point in time. And if you are taking that also, well done, as you will be running with over 95 pips in profit at this point. So now that we are profitable on the USDJPY, the next thing we want to be doing is to lock in some profit right now. And where will be the most appropriate area to lock in some profit? Well, if we look at the current structure we have here, remember at the beginning of the week, we had a structure around the 136.450, which we said shall be serving as our yardstick for trading activities for the week. Remember, the week started around the 136.450, just around this area here, where we actually took advantage of that buy opportunity. Remember, before the breakdown of that structure happened here. So price is right back at that structure. In matter of fact, it has broken the structure to the upside. So we want to be patient now to see how price is going to relate to the zone here. That is the 136.450 and the 137 area. See if price is going to continue to the upside here, or we're going to be having a further breakdown retest to send another wave of bearish momentum. So what I'll be advising us to do here is to move our stop loss to somewhere below the 136.450, somewhere around here, so that we can give room for price to breathe just in case a little retracement wants to happen around that area before another wave of bullish momentum happens. Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, both this one we took advantage of here and this one we took advantage of right above the 135.3 red. Well, let's see if price is going to uh, continue to the upside. Let's see if the market is going to be giving us a second chance to join that rally to the upside. So if the market is going to be giving us a second chance, what are we going to be looking out for to take advantage of that move? Well, like I said earlier, we are going to be looking out for price coming back to do a retest of the 136.450, after which we are going to be looking out for buy pressure right above the structure here on our lower time frame. Then we want to be adding more position to our existing trade while our take profit target still remains exactly around the 138. It could be around the 137.6 to around the 138.500 area, somewhere around that area. And the reason why we are having our take profit target around that area, I will be sharing that with you in a moment. Let's scale up a little bit into the 3 hours time frame so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So when we scale up to the 3 hours time frame, well, you can see how we have a uniform bearish trend line figured out here after connecting the series of lower highs. So we have the bearish trend line here, and this is the so we have our take profit target around this area because we want to see how price action is going to react to that trend line. So if price gets into that area, we want to be patient enough to look out for how price is going to relate to that structure. So there are two possible scenarios that could likely happen here. We could either have multiple rejection of that trend line where price action evolves into a reversal pattern with selling pressure on our lower time frame, then that might likely incite another wave of bearish momentum. However, if price breaks out of the trend line with buy pressure right above that structure or above the 138.00 level, then we want to be looking forward to adding more position to our existing trade while we extend our TP targets further, probably upside in such a way that price breaks out of the 139.500 and then retest of that level could give us another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. So we continue to hold on to our buy position while we wait out for um uh price action to give us the next line of action to do. So what we are right at a very critical point here. So let's see how price relates to the structure. So if we have a retest of the structure with buy pressure right above that level, we want to be joining or adding more position to our existing trade here. And the other scenario I stated here is that if price breaks down, then we want to be looking out for selling opportunities to join that decline to the downside from our lower time frame. So that is my view here on the USDJPY. Then there is something I was able to identify here so that could make our job easier during the New York session today is this temporary bearish trend line after identifying the selling pressure that led to that huge impulsive move to the downside we witnessed here on Tuesday. So if I connect the series of lower highs here, we have a situation around this area. So let's see what happens when price gets into that structure. That's seen selling pressure around this area, which also shares a confluence around the 136.450. Then we want to be looking out for opportunities to join that decline to the downside. But if price breaks out, then we are getting ready to buy if we start sighting buy pressure above that structure. So that is that on the USDJPY. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section while I move pair. So the next pair we talked about yesterday is the XAUUSD. Remember, we had the XAUUSD, and a matter of fact, we are very profitable on the XAUUSD. We had a very simple setup that we simulated during the live session yesterday, and that is the structure between the 1,812 and the $1,806 level. So remember, we took advantage of this buy opportunity on Tuesday. This was where we joined this bullish momentum here on Tuesday. In fact, price exceeded our expectation as we were at our TP target around the 1,810 area. Matter of fact, price moved further above that level with over 1,000 pips. Missed that anyway. But as soon as price dropped down into the 1,806 level, we started witnessing a huge consolidation phase, which lasted over 24 hours here. So it was quite a long wait for us on the XAUUSD. And prior to the FOMC yesterday, I told you that we shall be patient enough to wait out for a signal in the form of either a breakout retest of the 1,812 to join the rally to the upside, or a breakdown retest of the 1,806 to join the decline to the downside. And the latter is what happened here as we saw price break down the 1,806, and since then price moved significantly well in our favor. And I told you yesterday how the structure, current structure we have here has the possibility of multiple entries. And I told you that if price breaks down the $1,800 level, remember how important that 1,800 level has been for us on the daily time frame. I will be sharing that in a moment. For those who are not part of our live session. So if price breaks, I told you to add more position. And then if price breaks down the 1,788, I told you to add another position. And this is exactly what happened. So if you had followed this accordingly, you will currently have 3 positions running. So with the first position running, we will be having around 2,850 pips in profit. And for the second position, we should be having around 2,100 pips in profit. And the third position here, we have over 1,000, roughly over 1,000 pips in profit on this one. So for those who have been part of this profitable journey, very well done to you. Kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of this move. So right now that we are heading into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? And for those who had missed out on this opportunity, market going to give us a second chance to line. Well, let's see what is really going on the daily time frame so that we can have an holistic view of what is really going on in the market before making an informed decision for the day. So right back on the daily time frame, this is the structure we had on the daily time frame at the beginning. Remember? So we had a situation here figured out where we noticed that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum since the beginning of the year. And as a result of this, we were able to connect the series of lower highs here to give us that resultant bearish trend line, which was finally broken during the first week of the month of November. Besides the bearish trend line here is the very important key level at the $1,800 level. Remember that level I was showing you on the 1 hour time frame that I will be sharing you in a moment. That is that level right there. And if we look at how this level has been a major determinant of price action since the beginning of the year, it was quite impressive how participants in the market respected this key level judiciously well. Look at what happened here a couple of months at the beginning of the year. We saw how that level was holding by pressure. Every attempt by the sellers to push price to the downside from that level has been met with strong resistance from the buyers. So we saw buying pressure around that area, which took price to the highest point it has ever gotten to this year, and that is around the $2,050 level. The same thing happened here in the month of May. We saw buy pressure around that same area, but the buy pressure wasn't strong as we started seeing selling pressure that later and finally broke down the $1,800 level here in the month of July. And since the breakdown of the 1,800 level happened, we have seen that price retested that structure. And in fact, we saw the first half of the year, we saw that level was a buy zone. And then the second half of the year, that level has been a selling niche for participants in this market. And since the breakdown of the structure here, price has been trading below the $1,800 level, further emphasizing the strength of the sellers at this particular point in time. And as a result of this, we were able to identify the 1,000 area zone as our supply zone going forward. As long as price continues to trade below that structure, we continue to look out for selling opportunities. However, if price breaks out of that level, we are saying that we shall be looking out for buying opportunity. Now, if we fast forward into what has been happening here in the last 3 to 4 weeks now, we saw that price is right back within the $1,800 level at the beginning of this week. And what we saw here, we started seeing a reversal pattern on our lower time frame. And a matter of fact, we took advantage of this move. And since yesterday, we have been profitable over 7,000 pips in profit right now on the XAUUSD, and currently price is right below the $1,800 level. So going into the New York session today, what are the things we are going to be looking out for? Will the sell pressure continue to the downside? Well, it appears is going to. But what I'll be doing here is to identify this area around the 1,783. And let me show you what I mean by that. So we have this level, 1,783. And I will be, hold on a second, let me give this a label so that we can have a understanding of what we are talking about here. So we have the 1,783. Let me place this on the right hand side of the screen. And look at what has been happening here since mid-month of November. We saw selling pressure right below the structure. And in fact, if we go to as far back as the month of July, we saw selling pressure below that level, selling pressure. So we had breaks out of that structure here, which at this point in time might likely turn out to be a false breakout. And currently price is below that 1,783. So going into the New York session today, we shall be looking forward to selling pressure below the structure to give us a comfort that our sell position is still very, very good. So we shall be identifying the 1,783 on our lower time frame. But before I go down into the 1 hour time frame, let's quickly look at our long-term take profit target on the XAUUSD. Now, if we look at what happened here since the beginning of the month of November rather, we saw this impulsive move that took price into the $1,825 level. So we shall be taking that impulse leg into consideration. And to do that, we are going to be bringing out our Fibonacci retracement tool, run it through the previous impulse leg here, and we shall be identifying an area between the 50 and the 78.6 area as an area that we might be having the retracement drop into before another wave of bullish momentum happens. So there is a likelihood that price might come back into either the neckline here at the 1,730 or the zone between the 1,720 and the 1,660 area, where we might be looking out for buying pressure around this area that might incite another wave of bullish momentum. We're going to be looking at from a long-term perspective, hoping that price will continue in that direction. And if it does, we are looking at price coming into this area before another wave of bullish momentum happens. So let's scale down to the lower time frame and let's look at how participants in this market is related with the 1,783 level in order for us to make a decision for today. So scaling down to the 1 hour time frame. Sorry, I had to take some water there. Okay. So scaling down to the 1 hour time frame here. Remember, we are in a profitable trade so far in the last 24 hours here. And I told you we are going to be identifying a structure at around the 1,000, where I said we shall be using that as our yardstick for trading activity. Okay, on a second. Right, so we have the 1,783 level, so somewhere around here. So that's beautiful. I want to make this chart a little bit cleaner, so I would like to delete some of the structures here as they are no longer needed, so that we can have a clean chart. 1,785, do we still need this level? I'm not sure we don't. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. So we have the 1,783 figured out, and if we look closely into what has been happening here since last week, we saw how that level has been holding by pressure at one particular point in time. We saw what happened here. Then we saw what happened here during the first day of this week. We saw buy pressure right above the structure. Remember, we took advantage of this move at the beginning of the week. And then price appears to have broken down that 1783 level, and we have been witnessing a consolidation phase right below that structure. So we want to see what is really going to happen here, that is within this area during the New York session today, in order to make a decision for today. So let me scale up a little bit into the 3 hours time frame. I think I have a bullish trend line here where I would like to share with you. So we have this structure here. So we have this structure here. We had this bullish trend line figured out since the later part of the month of November. Price has been respecting, finding a uniform higher lows. So we have the spread trend line figured out here, and price is right around that trend line at this particular point in time. So we want to be very patient here to see how price relates to the structure. So I would like to extend this a little further so that we can see things clearly. So we are at a very critical point in the market right now as price is within the 1783, breaking down that structure. So now going into the New York session today, like I said, we want to be looking out for one, a trend continuation pattern around here to join the decline to the downside, or price come back to do a retest of either the 1783 or the bullish trend line here to incite another wave of bearish momentum. However, if price continues to the downside, breaking down the 1770 retest of structure, starting pressure on our lower time frame, we want to add more position to our existing trade. So our TP target right now, I would like us to extend our TP targets to line up with this bullish trend line, which has been holding bullish pressure since the month of September. We saw, so we had a breakdown of the structure here, which lasted for like a couple of weeks. Then we saw price break out of that structure again. So we might likely see price come back into the structure before another wave of bullish momentum happens from this level. So I would like to extend our TP target to somewhere around the probably the 1750 level. So let's see how far this sell opportunity is going to take us to before another wave of bullish momentum will happen. So let's be on standby to catch this move when it finally happens. So like I said, let me do a quick recap here. We look out for a consolidation phase here, like a trend continuation pattern around here. It could last for a very long time, and it could be in anticipation of this economic event that we are expecting to come up in 2 hours from now. I think an hour 30 minutes from now. So we might see a consolidation phase around this area before that huge move happens. So if we see a trend continuation pattern, we want to be joining. A breakdown retest of the 1770 should welcome additional position to this trade. Or if price comes back to do a retest of either the trend line here or the 1783 with selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. So these are my views here on the XAUUSD. However, like I used to say here, in as much as we are looking forward to selling pressure, selling opportunity here, we should not ignore the possibility that buyer could likely come in. And what we are going to be looking forward to, if we are going to be buying this, considering the fact that the 1783 has been a strong buying niche in the past. So we had the breakdown of the structure. The breakdown could likely turn out to be a false one. So if price comes up, climbs up the 1783, and we start seeing buying pressure right above the structure in our lower time frame, then we might want to get ready to join a rally to the upside, probably into the 1800 area or the bullish trend line here, where we'll start seeing another wave of bearish momentum. So I want us to be on standby to catch this move. So I always advise that we stay tuned in, munch my screen, record my screen so that you can use it as a reference point when you're about to make your own personal decision on any of the pairs we are discussing here in this community. So next on, let's move on to the next pair. I'm already out of time, so let's quickly run through the AUDCAD, which is the last pair we are going to be treating for today. And in matter of fact, I finally hit my take profit target here. Remember, we had a situation running at the beginning of the week. We took advantage of the sell opportunity here, which gave us about 50 pips in profit before we saw this bullish momentum that broke out of the 0.92200 level. Remember, we also cut that move as well when we had our TP target around the 0.93 level here. Then during the live session yesterday, we had this opportunity running during the live session where I said that we shall be waiting to see how price action is going to relate to the 0.93 level. And one thing I stated here yesterday is that for us to add more position to the buy position we took advantage of here on Wednesday, that we want to be looking out for a breakout of the 0.9330 level. That is the structure here, taking out all the sell position here to give us a bullish signal, but that did not happen. So I don't need to go further on that. Then the other scenario I stated here is that if price breaks down the 0.9300 level with selling pressure below the structure in our lower time frame, we want to be joining the decline to the downside. And this is exactly what happened. I told you to move your TP target to somewhere around the 0.91950. That's where I placed my TP target, and price moved over 105 pips in our favor. And for those who are taking advantage of this move, kudos to you guys for being on standby to get this move done at this particular point in time. So you would be running with over 100 pips in profit at this particular point in time. And for those who are taking this opportunity right below the 0.91950, a matter of fact, well done, guys. Though I didn't take that move anyways, but I told you yesterday that a breakdown of that structure on our lower time frame should further give us an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. Our TP target still remains around the 0.91100 level and the 0.91 area, an area which has been a buying niche for participants in this market in the past. So let's see how price action relates to that structure if price goes that far to make a decision. If we start seeing buy pressure around that area, then we might be looking forward to buying right from that level. But if a breakdown retest of that structure happens on our lower time frame with selling pressure right below that structure, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. So well done, guys, for those moves that we have taken advantage of here. So this is what we are going to be looking out for during the New York session today. So for those who had missed out on these opportunities, well, let's wait out for a possible retest of the 0.919500 level to join that decline to the downside if that happens. But if that does not happen, well, let's pass that trade and look out for other opportunities elsewhere. On this note, I would like to call it a day, but before I do, let's quickly run through all the pairs and instruments we talked about today before I finally draw the curtain. So the first pair we looked at today is the US oil. And what was our expectation on the US oil? Well, on the US oil, like I said earlier, we have been profitable on the US oil since the beginning of the week as we took advantage of an opportunity right above the $71.50 level. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions running on the US oil, 5 positions running on the US oil right now. And I made mention here that let's watch out for how price action is going to relate to the $77.50 level during the New York session today. Decide if we are going to be adding more position to our exit trade or we are going to be joining a decline to the downside. And how did I say we are going to be taking advantage of that move? Well, I said if price breaks out of the $77.50 area, taking out all the sell position here, getting enough liquidity to push price to the upside, then I want to be seeing as a bullish signal. And if we are lucky enough, we start seeing buy pressure around this area on our lower time frame, then we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. That is one scenario I said here if we are going to be joining the buy position. Then the other one is if price comes back to do a retest of the $76.80 level, which also lines up with this bullish trend line. Buy pressure right above that level on our lower time frame will be a good opportunity to add more position. Retest of structure, had another position with your take profit target somewhere between the $80.50 level and the $79.50 area. So these are my views here for buy opportunity here on the US oil. Then the other scenario is that if selling pressure around the $77.50 level continues in such a way that we see another move that breaks down both this bullish trend line and the $76.80 level, that is the structure here, then this is a good bearish signal for us. That is, price action has finally evolved into a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure where the $76.50 level will be serving as the neckline of that structure. So a breakdown of the neckline should be confirming that reversal pattern. Then we want to be joining the decline to the downside, which would likely be a retracement of the impulse leg that started this week. So this impulse even that started this week We are looking for a retracement back into our golden zone area before another wave of bullish momentum happens. So if a breakdown of the bullish trend line, the neckline of that reversal pattern happens there, then we want to be joining a decline into the downside to take advantage of that counter trend opportunity. Then we went on to talk about the USDJPY, where we are in a massive profit here on the USDJPY. So after I missed out on this opportunity on Tuesday, it was unfortunate, but it's okay. There is always an opportunity to take advantage of these trades. Even though you missed them, there is always opportunities elsewhere. So the market gave us another chance to join, and we were able to take advantage of this move right above the 135.300. Added another position around the 135.750, and with the look of things here, price is continuing to move to the upside here. So for those who had missed out on this opportunity, I have said that we should hold on and see if we are going to be having a retest of the 136.450, a level which we said is going to be our yardstick for trading activities for this week. Remember, the week started at around that 136.450 here, where we took advantage of this bullish momentum before this bearish move happened here. So let's see if the price will come back into the structure to give us buy pressure on our lower time frame to join that rally to the upside. If that happens, we want to be joining that rally to the upside. However, if price continues to the upside here, breaking out of the 137.150, well, at this point in time, I don't think it is advisable for us to keep on adding more position here. As we can see, close to this area is a selling niche where sellers have gathered here before to sell. So you can see what happened here. We saw selling niche here. So I wouldn't advise us to buy around this area. So let's wait out for price to come back and retest this if you had missed out from this opportunity. These opportunities here. So let's wait out for price to come back, retest the structure, then we could be looking out for buy pressure on our lower time frame to join another rally to the upside. However, if we start seeing selling pressure around this area, well, I was able to identify a bearish trend line here after connecting the series of lower highs here, which is headed into this area. So we are at a very critical point now where we want to see how participants in this market will be relating to the structure. So if we start seeing selling pressure, if price action evolves into a reversal pattern with selling pressure right below the structure on our lower time frame, a breakdown retest of the neckline on our lower time frame should be giving us a leverage to join another decline to the downside. Remember, our take profit target is still around the 138 for this buy position we are in right now, and we are still going to be watching how price will relate to this trend line too as well, which also shares a confluence with that TP target zone that we have here. So if reversal patterns is identified, selling pressure on our lower time frame might be getting ready to join another wave of bearish momentum. And if a breakout of that structure happens, retests, buy pressure above the structure, we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. Then we went on to talk about the XAUUSD, where we are also very, very profitable. And matter of fact, we have 3 positions running with over 6,000 to 7,000 pips in profit right now. And I told you to move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit, and let's see how the market is going to play out during the New York session today. So we have 2 scenarios that we are looking forward to here. I told you that for those who had missed out on this opportunity, since we already have a breakdown of the 1,783 level here, a level which has been a strong buying niche for participants in this market in the past, let's see if the market will give us a second chance to join this decline in the form of a retest of the structure with selling pressure right below the level. Then we could join that decline to the downside. And if price breaks down the 1,770, selling pressure below the structure in our lower time frame, should be giving us another opportunity to join that decline to the downside. That is one scenario I was saying here. Then the other possible scenario that might likely happen is that price might come back to do a retest of the $1,800 level, a level which was broken during the New York session yesterday, and it also shares a confluence with this bullish trend line. So we had a breakdown of the bullish trend line. Price might likely come back to do a retest of that structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So we want to be on standby to catch either of this move if price moves in that direction. So we are going to be looking out for buy pressure right above the 1,783 to have a counter trend opportunity with anticipation of another wave of bearish momentum. So let's be on standby here to take advantage of that move. And if price does not climb up the 1,783 or does not go into this area, but instead we start seeing a trend continuation pattern around here, it could be a bearish rectangular pattern, a consolidation phase, which might likely be in anticipation of the macroeconomic event we are expecting in the next 1 hour from now. Breakdown retest on our lower time frame might likely incite another wave of bearish momentum to the downside. And if a further breakdown of the 1,770 happens here, retest of structure should be giving us another opportunity to add more position to the trade. So I implore that we be on standby to catch either of this move. And I hope you recorded my screen or munch my screen so that you can use it as a reference, able to take advantage of any of these opportunities when they finally happened. So the last pair we talked about today is the AUDCAD, which has been very profitable for us this week. We took advantage of all the opportunities we took advantage of was quite on point, as we took advantage of the sell momentum right below the 0.9250 at the beginning of the week, which gave us about 50 pips. And we also bought right above the 0.92200 level, which I told you was a significant structure to look out for either selling opportunities or buying opportunities. Price breaks down, we look out for sell. And if price continues to the upside, we look out for buy. And this is exactly what happened on Tuesday. Then yesterday, I told you how the 0.93300 level will be our yardstick for trading activity for yesterday. And I told you that if price breaks down, retest that level, selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. And this is exactly what happened. Though I had my TP target around the 0.91950, and price took me out with about 107 pips in profit. And like I said also, that if price breaks down to 0.9150 level, selling pressure right below that structure, you want to be joining the decline to the downside. And for those who had missed out on all of this opportunity, I have stated here that let's see if the market is going to be giving us a second chance to join this decline. And second chance might likely come in form of a retest of the 0.919950, where we look out for sell pressure below the structure, join that decline to the downside, or it could even go as far as the 0.92200 level, where we look out for selling pressure on a lower time frame to join that decline to the downside. And a matter of fact, it could extend to as far as this trend line here. That is, remember we had the breakdown of this trend line here. Price coming back into the structure might likely incite another wave of a bearish momentum. So I would implore that we be on standby. So for those who are missed out here, at this juncture, just remain patient and wait out for price action to hit either of these structures for us to join the decline. And if we start seeing a reversal pattern around here, then if you are a counter trade trader or a scalper, if you see a reversal pattern here, you might want to join a counter trend opportunity back into the 0.9330 level, or this bullish trend line where I said we shall be looking forward to another sell position. But if you're not a counter trend trader, neither are you a scalper, please and please stay out of this trade and hold on. If a bullish momentum happens here, just be patient and wait for price to come to either of the structures I identified here. Look out for selling opportunities to join that decline to the downside. So these are my views here on the AUDCAD, and we were able to trade the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs today: the USOil, the US Tech, the USDJPY, XAUUSD, and the AUDCAD. So I want to be wishing you best of luck today, and I hope I was able to simulate all the possible scenarios that is likely going to be happening today. So I hope that you be on standby so that you can catch that move when they finally happen. Remember, you don't want to get too excited when we sight a breakout of a structure. We want to immediately scale down to our lower time frame, looking out for retest of structures, buy pressure or selling pressure, whatever the case may be, to be comfortable in joining whatever momentum the market is going to be giving us. So on this note, I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time. Let's come here again, gather here again to review the market and review all what we have talked about today and get ourselves prepared for the New York session tomorrow. Do have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.